Hey there, hi, welcome to the channel. I am Garrett, and in this video, we're talking all about your interior design style and what it says about you. Now, the first style we're talking about is modern Mediterranean. Yes, modern Mediterranean is very interesting. It's a beautiful style. The core of this style is basically wood floors, very white walls, soft, delicate furnishings, soft fabrics, linens, sheer drapes, but we have a heavy wood tone and a little bit of that rustic feel to some of the pieces of furniture like tables and wood chairs and consoles, credenzas, that sort of a thing. I like this style. It is very pretty. What does it say about you? I would say it says your dream vacation is probably to Italy. Even though this looks more Spanish than Italian, you'll probably go to Italy. You'll probably go to Rome before Lake Como. I would do Como before Rome, but that's just me personally. It also says to me that you probably shop a lot of Crate and Barrel, which nothing wrong with, we love it. Not so much Williams-Sonoma, although I would say you probably need to check it out a little bit. Beside the point, you also are probably a big fan of, a little bit of like a Home Goods moment, a little bit of a Target moment, mix it all together. That's fun, it's nice, it's interesting. Looking for stone, like a mango wood bowl, very much you. Probably either don't have kids or just have one child and, married, that sort of a thing. It does give me kind of millennial vibes. And I would say that, I like that for you. This is not the person that's going to be like bleach blonde hair and, like getting the nails done and this and that. This is somebody that probably is a brunette, I would say. And I like that. I mean, hey, I'm a brunette too. Love that for us. The baby boomers may like this, but this is not going to be their style necessarily that they're trying to achieve this. It'll just be something natural that comes to them. Like, if you're kind of living in an apartment in, like Spain, this would probably just be your style, like what the vibe is, because that's what is kind of there. But, you would have the more authentic version. The millennials are going to try to achieve this, and it is giving me very much a sunny place to live, very LA, very Arizona, very, maybe like Florida, like kind of a beachy vibe too, but more so West Coast than East Coast. Overall, what does the style say about you? You like something comfortable, you like something casual, you like to relax, but you also like to be cool even though it's hot, so you want something breezy and light. Open the doors and windows. You probably would love to have arch doors and windows, probably went for the oversized, like the big sliding door when you upgraded through the builder grade home. I would say that. Now, a piece of design advice I would give this person that likes this style: too many arches are too many. We don't need to have that many of them in a space. So limit it to just doorways. And if you're gonna do one doorway, you kind of need to do all of them, but we don't need to add more arches everywhere else. And be sure you're looking for real vintage. Don't just get stuff that looks old. Get stuff that has like an authentic character to it. Go to a flea market, go to a garage sale, go on Facebook Marketplace. You're gonna find some great things that are very authentic and give this style some real depth, character, and personality. No matter what your style is, no matter what age bracket you fall into or color of hair you have, I am at your service, and you can always book a one-on-one private consultation with me using the link in the description box down below or going to intro.co/GarrettLeChic. Now, the next style we have to talk about is one that we're gonna bring up because I just can't help myself. This is 70s retro. Now, just so we're clear, we all love 70s retro, but nobody that was actually living in the 70s probably has this, because if you were there, you don't want to go back to it. This is very much they say millennials are up to 1994, I would say. This is probably the 93, 94, and then Gen Z. This is their style because they don't really get the vibe. I'm not including 1992 because I was born in 92 and no. I do appreciate the 70s, but I'm not going for the full retro look. Now let's talk about the actual style. 1970s, when you were actually there, you realize there was just a lot of brown and a lot of avocado. But this kind of retro vibe is a little bit more like atomic 1970s, I'd say. Lots of yellows and greens and oranges, really vibrant colors. And we're kind of mixing this in with postmodern design, so you get a lot of interesting, intriguing shapes, and just feels very fun, very interesting, kind of like a crayon box dumped out out all over the place, lots of color, interesting, very fun, but you also do have a lot of wood tones happening, and I like that. You know, because for a good period of time there, everything was painted. People were like, oh, you know, you got an antique, paint it white, get some chalk paint on it. These are not those kids. They don't want everything painted. They like things to be original. They want things to be interesting and cool. I like that about them. Who is this person though? I would say does not have kids, probably, maybe is not even married. Maybe they are, that's cool too. Very much into facial hair, probably knows somebody with a bowl cut and Doc Martens. The Doc Martens are cool, but the bowl cut? Really, girl? No. I also think this person probably really likes a high-waisted vintage jean. We're talking Jordache. That's okay too, nothing wrong with that. Are they still in business though? That's just who this person is, and I like that. They're keeping the record companies in business, and by record companies I mean record stores, because they're very much that person that's like, everything sounds so much better on vinyl. Like, I'm sure it does, but who has the time for that? Who has the storage space for that? Obviously they do, because this is their style. Plus, I don't want to have to go change a vinyl record every time I want to listen to something. This is like a very committed person, and I like that for them. This is somebody that's going to be like, let's get some like interesting, cool, modern light fixtures and, you know, this and that. They're probably DIYers too. They're going to paint things really fun colors. I like that, but just keep in mind, you don't want to paint all of that original wood tone in your 1970s home, because that's kind of like the vibe of it, right? Change out the carpet, put something interesting down. You know, you could do like a terrazzo tile, you could do wood floors, you could just do anything other than a shag carpet, honey, and it's gonna be fine. But this is the type of person that will also go for a furry, shaggy rug. You know, that's just not my fantasy. I think there are so many better things you could do, because shag just does not age well. Somebody needs to tell you this, honey, and I'm okay with it being me. You don't want that in your home because it will be a mess. And I know you also have a dog. They probably have a little dog with short hair. It's gonna get everywhere. It's gonna get all into that shag. I'm looking at a floor, imagining it here. Ugh, I couldn't. I don't like that. You don't need it in your home. You could get something that's just as soft and nice, but a little bit more durable. Look for a wool option. Look for viscose, honey. I don't know. Just don't do shag. I know it's tempting, but maybe just do some macrame on the wall instead of that shag carpet. Ooh. Let's talk about the modern farmhouse girlies, because we all know exactly who she is, and I am gonna talk about her. But before we do, be sure you hit that subscribe button, join us, become a part of the GarrettLeChic family, and give this video a like. Now, the modern farmhouse girl. Oh, we already know she lives in Utah. She has blonde hair. She's not a natural blonde. She probably has natural black hair and gets it dyed or bleached every couple of weeks. Not that there's anything wrong with Utah. I mean, love it, honey. But she probably has bleach blonde hair, not a natural blonde. She definitely is getting it colored because she has the black eyebrows to match it. She's the type of girl who, she loves Uggs and she loves Target, but the only problem with Uggs is that they're not sold at Target, and the only problem with Target is that they don't sell Ugg. That's who she is, loves Starbucks, is willing to pay $9 for a drink, and hey, I love all of those things. Ugg, Target, Starbucks, great. I actually paid $9 for a coffee at Starbucks the other day. Probably won't do that again, but I didn't realize they raised their prices to that point. Okay. And if you saw my most recent video, you know I'm living the Washington fantasy, so I actually went over to the first Starbucks, and I know all of you modern farmhouse girlies are jealous, but we're talking about your style. Modern farmhouse, I don't really need to tell you all that much about it because it was such a viral craze, a trend. Everybody had to have it. It's like all white everything with black hardware all over the place, probably a white oak floor. Nothing wrong with that. I think it looks good. This is just that person that is very committed to the trends. They know it, they want the latest thing. They're gonna be the ones that are ordering the viral thing from some social media platform, and that's cool too. You just have to be careful that you're not jumping on things too hard. Modern farmhouse is cool. I would just say, be careful of how industrial you go with some of the accents, like the light fixtures and bar stools, and people love to get little metal pieces of this and that and everything. Just be careful with it because it's like a modern farmhouse, but you're making it into like a modern warehouse at a farm. Like, I don't know how to explain that, but just be careful about how farmhouse you go. And the good thing about this style is that most of the color schemes in it and everything are very neutral. So you could switch things up by changing out some of the light fixtures, some of the little hardware moments on things. Instead of going with everything black, throw some brass in there, do a two-tone moment. Just don't go too farmy on it, otherwise it feels very kitschy. Now the other end of that is that the new modern farmhouse is modern colonial, which I actually do like. Now, I don't think it'll be as overdone as Modern Farmhouse because the girls that committed to Modern Farmhouse committed to it and they're stuck with it now. So those are the same people that would go for Modern Colonial. I think that's a better style. Modern Colonial, Modern Georgian. We love it. Classic proportions, symmetrical design. That works really beautifully because it has very, very classic proportions, as where Modern Farmhouse doesn't, because an actual farmhouse is probably more Victorian than it is farmhouse. You see where I'm going with this? It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but that's who that girl is. Now, let me just tell you a little bit more about her. You all know this girl. She probably is married, has 2 kids. One of their names has a Y in it, like Braylon, even though like you could spell that without a Y, she threw one in there unnecessarily. The other kid's name is probably Scarlett or Paul. You know, it's like one crazy one, one normal one. I don't know about that. Love that for her, honey, but just be careful with your kids' names because they have to live with that for the rest of their lives. Like if you're gonna name your kid anything, name it Cornelius or Linus. Those are great names for babies, dogs, pet birds, or anyone, really. If you really wanted to give your child a wonderful name that would be timeless, elegant, sophisticated, chic, and classic, I would name it Garrett, but that's just me. Okay, enough of me dragging the Modern Farmhouse girlies. Let's talk about the contemporary design lovers. I already know who this person is, and you do too. Contemporary design is great, and we love it because contemporary means now. It's kind of the most current thing happening, which I think is good, and I like to see the transition of design. You know, I'm very into like design history and historical design, so seeing what's the new modern or contemporary thing is also interesting for me too. Contemporary tends to have a lot of clean edges and sharp lines. You can have a cool toned contemporary, you can have something that's a very warm toned contemporary, but who is the person that lives here? They're probably a tech influencer. And by tech influencer, I mean they buy every Apple product and show it on Instagram. And I'm so tired of it because they're the ones that are gonna do a comparison of like Apple's space gray versus some other gray color they have coming out. We love those colors though. Apple, sponsor me. But you know this person, they're gonna get everything in black, and then, you know, and that's that. Like, that's just who they are as a person. They'll buy every single piece of clothing in black, although they're tech in black, and then, you know, their house is very contemporary, probably all white, black, gray, and maybe like there's a beige tone or something. That's who this person is. That's what contemporary design says about you. It says that you just have to have all of the latest and greatest this and that. You think technology is wonderful. I could barely use a printer. So I love that for you. I don't get the fantasy, but hey, good on you. This person also probably is going to live in an apartment or a condo, or they're going to want to have a house with a view of something. I would say that's interesting as well. Is this person married? Do they have kids? I see it's either like a single person or maybe even like a retired person. A retired couple could have a very contemporary home. They might not be tech influencers, but that single guy that's all like contemporary design lover, he definitely is. Young couples in cities, they might live in a contemporary style apartment, but their furnishing style may not be contemporary. Maybe it is, but it might just be like, well, that's what matches the apartment, so that's what we bought. If that's the whole couple vibe, you know, I think it's kind of outside of that. The person that wants contemporary design wants the latest, the greatest, the newest, the most up-to-date, the most current, most relevant. That's who that person is. And they probably are looking at the Modern Farmhouse girl being like, oh, Modern Farmhouse, I could never, but they're basically just like one stage above her. That's who that contemporary person is. They like everything to be new and the latest and greatest. Let's talk about the traditional design lovers. Now, you know, I definitely fall into the realm, the niche of traditional design, but I like a strong mix of styles. So I'm gonna do a traditional chair and some accessories, but I'm gonna do an ultra contemporary modern sofa and rug. I'm gonna have a little bit of technology like, you know, a frame TV, but it's gonna have a cool gold frame on it. Like, that's who I am as a person. But the traditional design lovers, that person, let me tell you about her. Well, let's talk about her style. So traditional design is going to be things like, you know, English farmhouse and country. You're going to have things like Tuscan. You're going to have a little bit more of, you know, that classic traditional design where it's like very blue and white chinoiserie, which I love, of course. That's who that person is. What is she like? Who is she? She is definitely a person who she may not have, she's neither blonde nor brunette. She might be somewhere in the middle. Maybe she's a redhead. She will love a headband, however, and she would rather have pearls over diamonds, which I think is the first mistake. You know me as a person, okay? But that's beside the point. I think this person also definitely would rather wear a flat sandal, open-toed, or a wedge. There is no in between. That's who that person is. Her style is good. We like it, but traditional design can feel a little bit frumpy, a little bit quickly. So what I would say is be careful of over layering the space because it can be too much too quickly. And sometimes you don't need to have a pattern drape and a pattern wallpaper and a pattern sofa and chairs and everything. A solid color is okay. Paint the walls, save the money on the wallpaper, put it into a great sofa, chair, rug, whatever, and go for some solid accessories like blankets, throws. You can keep it simple, keep it classic, go for some warmer tones, something to juxtapose whatever else you have happening in the space. I think that's great. This person might also have a room that is white, a room that is red, and a room that is green. Maybe you have a yellow room too. That's this kind of niche. Warmer tones, saturated colors. We like that vibrancy, and I love that for them. I love that for the traditional design lover. That's who she is as a person. Also, the traditional design lover either is married and does not have kids yet, or maybe just had one, has one, or maybe the kids are all moved out and grown and gone, probably has 3. One of them definitely is either a doctor or a lawyer, and the other one is probably in finance. The third, we don't know what they're up to, but I can tell you that much. Now, I love traditional design, and I like having a little bit of that here and there because I think it has so much character, so much detail in it. Well, that is the traditional design lover for you, as well as all of these other people. This is what your style says about you. Now, if you need any help telling you about anything else, be sure you check out this video right over here to learn all about some cursed interior design mistakes that I am exposing and you need to know about. Check it out right here, and I will see you over there.